Once upon a time, there was a sailor.
Oh, for fuck's sake, not again.
What?
It's naff accent time. Again.
What?
Arr, you aren't a landlubber yet, matey. The accent, curse me, fallow bean farts of a salty sailor on the high sea.
Yes, thank you, we'll let you know. No, this sailor is actually a healthy young man with a gleam in his eye, a spring in his step, and no accent to speak of. His name was Alfred, you see.
Don't.
And this was his first sea voyage on the brand new sailing ship, the Mighty Bell.
This says boat, not ship.
Oh, it doesn't have to be exact.
Okay, I get it.
Alfred was in search of adventure on the high seas, and what better place to find it than in the pirate-infested waters of the Caribbean?
Caribbean.
Okay, Caribbean. The Mighty Bellows was a passenger ship, fast, sleek, top of the line. But the crew were your usual assortment of salty old sea dogs, complete with authentic accents.
Right, you're number one on my shit list.
Ooh, arr, me
Shouldn't that
hearty.
be number 2?
Anyway, the Mighty Bellows was designed to outrun the fastest pirate ships on the Caribbean. The passengers paid well for the safety it provided. The crew were paid well to keep it in top condition. Alfred found the work tough but rewarding.
So, the salty old sea dogs worked Alfred pretty hard, eh?
No, they had Bob the cabin boy for that. So, Alfred was quickly accepted by the crew and became friends with Davril, a good-hearted but extraordinarily ugly old sailor. Davril had a peg leg, an eye patch, and no nose.
How did he smell?
Probably by absorbing odors through his skin, I don't know.
And you're number 2 on my shit list, and don't think I won't get around to it.
One evening, as Davril and Alfred were relaxing in their hammocks in the hold, there was a knock at the door.
Door!
Okay, first handover. Now that the game's underway, we each take an ending card.
So I've got to make the story go towards this ending,
Uh-huh. You play the ending card after you've played all your story cards.
and then I win?
And then you win.
So, Davril and Alfred are relaxing one night, playing some stupid card game, annoying their crewmates who are trying to study. Suddenly there's a knock on the door. It's the captain. He says one of the passengers, they're complaining because they've lost a locket. He says, Arr! Now, I don't rightly know what I've done with it, but I reckon I've just gone and dropped it somewhere. So could you be keeping an eye out for it? Arr. So the very next day, Alfred's coiling up some rope, and he sees a glint of gold, and it's the very locket that the captain has been asking about.
Beer? Anyone?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
So Alfred picks up the locket and he starts walking back to the captain's cabin. And then he notices that the locket's got this latch on it.
Fucking hell.
So he opens the locket and inside there's a portrait of the most beautiful woman that he's ever seen.
What was that?
Alfred's found the locket, it's got a latch on it, and he's opened it up and inside there's a portrait of a beautiful woman.
Do me a favour.
What?
Turn over my card on the left-hand side. That's your right, moron.
Beautiful. So, Alfred sees that the picture in the locket is of the most beautiful woman he's ever seen in his short virginal life. And he decides, there's no way I'm handing this over. So, the locket goes into his pocket, and for the rest of the day he sneaks little looks at it, feeling a little strange every time he did so.
What?
And that evening, when he goes to sleep, he clasps it tightly to his chest.
Wait a sec. Can I play this one?
Yeah, sure.
Okay.
It's your turn.
Yeah, look, just wait a sec.
Come on.
Yeah, just wait a sec.
Jesus fucking Christ.
Give him a chance. It's his first time.
Sorry, I thought we were playing a game. It's to fucking learn anyway.
Alfred was asleep.
Did he dream?
He dreamt about Christine, the woman in the necklace.
Lock it.
Yeah, he dreamed about her. She said in the dream that her name was Christine.
Right, good. That's enough. We're gonna be here all night.
Give him a chance.
No, look, that's all right. I can pass, can't I?
Well, yeah, sure, but just give it a go. Just say whatever comes into your head.
No, look, that's all right.
Right, good. Play progresses to the left, so that'd make it my turn. So, Alfred's woken from his wet dream by an insistent shaking. "Wake up," says Davriel in an urgent whisper. "Wake up! Wake up!"
What? What is it?
Pirates!
Where, huh?
Up on deck. Shh. And Davriel drags Alfred out of his hammock, still half asleep, and drags him along. Nah, sorry mate.
Huh?
You don't have to be very strong to pull someone out of a hammock. Davriel isn't very strong. In fact, he's an utter spastic fucking weakling.
You said it didn't have to be the exact meaning.
It's got to be closer than that. Sorry.
Shit.
Don't worry, I'm sure everybody will forget that you've got very strong in your hand. I've forgotten already. What was I just talking about?
Don't be an asshole.
So, Alfred follows Davriel out of the cabin, and although it's the middle of the night, he sees that all the other sailors are gone. The hold is empty. And as they sneak past the passenger cabins, he notices that all the doors are open, and the cabins are empty too. So Alfred follows Davriel along the corridor and out onto the deck. It's very dark, but Alfred can make out some dim figures. So, ready to fight some pirates?
Sure. Where's my sword?
I'm afraid you don't get one. And suddenly, a dozen lanterns are uncovered on deck. And Alfred sees that the entire deck is awash with blood, and that he's now surrounded by grinning pirates. He turns to Davriel, who now has his sword drawn, and is grinning evilly at our beleaguered hero. "Surprise!" says Davriel, and chops off Alfred's head, killing him instantly.
Great.
His head rolls off the deck, splashes into the ocean, where it gets eaten by sharks, something like that.
Wait a sec, you're changing the whole personality of Davriel.
What personality? All you've said about him so far is that he's a fucking ugly bastard. And that he's not very strong.
And that he's a good person. He's got a good heart.
Yeah, a good heart, alright. He does cardiovascular exercise every day. Plenty of sword swinging. Nothing wrong with his heart. Unlike Alfred's, which had just stopped for some reason. Nothing to pump through it.
Yeah, right. Get on with it. Not that there's anyone to get on with.
Well, let's see. There's always Davriel, isn't there? Who we left wiping off his sword as the other pirates gathered round. Well, boys, that's the last of them. And all the pirates cheer. Way!
Yeah. So Davriel's like the pirate leader or something, is he?
That'd be king of the pirates.
Thanks. So, the pirates stood around cheering, been able to take the crew without a single casualty on their side, and congratulating Davril, the pirate king, on his cleverness. They take all the good stuff from the Mighty Bellows and transfer it back across to the pirate ship,
Oh, were any of them very strong?
and they all get drunk and throw a party. In the course of it, they accidentally sink the pirate ship and have to swim back to the Mighty Bellows. One of those little pranks that went wrong. The Mighty Bellows is a complete mess. Davril kicks a few groaning pirates around the deck, chops off a few more heads in irritation. Suddenly, a swarthy pirate emerges holding Bob the cabin boy.
Bob is dead.
No, Bob hid while the rest of the crew were being killed.
That wasn't an objection. It was a prediction.
"Arr," he says. "Looks like we missed one." He's about to throw Bob overboard when Davril stops him. "This is a fine piece of luck," thinks Davril. And so, Bob finds himself in the kitchen with a scrubbing brush, plates piled from floor to ceiling, greasy paper wrappers crumpled up,
Yeah, get on with it.
cutlery in rusty heaps, pipe tappings, rats nesting in the pots. The pirates shackled Bob in the kitchen, and for days and days he washed and scoured and dried.
All right.
But Bob had a secret. The locket, which he'd recovered from Alfred's body. He'd opened it and seen the portrait inside, and now he too was desperately in love with Christine.
The slut. Toying with his young heart like that. She ought to be ashamed.
The pile of washing up steadily shrank until one day it was almost finished. But Bob knew as soon as it was done, it was going to be over the side of the ship for him, into the mouths of the hungry sharks that were following. Or even worse, maybe they needed him to clean the toilets.
Scary.
More just desperate to find a way out, which is why he was so relieved when the sink clogged up. When he was rooting around in the U-bend, he found this ring. Did you see?
You wouldn't want a pirate to walk in just then.
Arr, that would have been the end of him. But none of the pirates ever came down, except after meals. Bob cleaned off the ring, read the inscription on the inside, which, I'm sure you can see, is the word Izyak. Bob's hands were so swollen from the mountains of washing up that you could only fit the ring on his little finger.
Oh, God.
But it did fit, just. And when he said the word Izyak aloud, he jumped in surprise, or rather, he half jumped, because he didn't come down again.
Ooh, scary.
Well, yeah, he was a bit frightened.
Thanks. Yes, Bob is frightened. And with good cause. Because right then Davril walks in. Now, Davril might be a right spastic total weakling, but you don't get to be king of the pirates by being stupid. He shuts and locks the door and pulls his knife out. Now, Bob still has his chains on, hasn't he? So he can fly around in a circle, but he ain't going anywhere. It's a pretty easy matter for Davril to grab the other end of the chain and haul him in.
"If you kill me, you'll never know how I did it," said Bob.
Who's telling the story? Davril hauls him in and puts the knife to his throat. So, Bob, how do you fly?
"Let me go and I'll tell you."
I can't do that, Bob.
"Why not?"
All right. Davril knows that Bob is also an utter weakling, and that he's compulsively honest. He grabs Bob round the throat, frees him from his chains, and takes him up on deck. Okay, Bob, how do you fly?
"Promise you'll let me go."
I promise.
"It's this ring."
Thanks. Davril lashes out, chops off Bob's finger, takes the ring, pushes him overboard.
Someone is hurt.
Yeah, whatever. Come on.
Thinking.
Come on, what's so difficult? Bob fell into shark-infested waters with an open wound. Just join the dots.
Just as Bob hits the water, he shouts Izyuk. The ring leaps up out of Davril's hand and hovers there in the air for a while. The ship's moving, the ring isn't. So when the ring gets bored and falls back down, it's falling over open water. All Bob needs to do is swim under it and catch it.
Izyuk.
Too late. Bob's already got the ring on his little finger, his other little finger, so that call just lifts him up out of the reach of the sharks. And Bob flies away.
Yeah, good one.
Thanks. Okay, so Bob flew in search of land. Day and night he flew over the waves. It wasn't a very fast-flying ring.
Did he see any islands?
No, not really.
Any very strong men? Any of those?
He flew for days until he was delirious with hunger and thirst. He tried to catch an albatross, but it flew into a thundercloud and lost him. He tried to drink the rain.
Wait a sec. Bird.
Smooth. Very smooth.
Okay, right. Bob. So this guy Bob, right? He's okay, right. He's flying through the air with his ring of flying, and the clouds are thick, and it's dark, and shit. Shit.
Look, just let the story flow, okay? It'll work out if it's a right story.
What the hell's a right story?
Oh God, don't get him started.
No, I always enjoy this bit.
Okay, a right story. It's when... you'll know when you've told a right story. It's got a life of its own. There are bits that no one really tried to introduce to the story, but they're there anyway, and they turn out to be vital to the plot. Look, don't get hung up on the cards. The cards don't matter. The winner is not even what matters when the story's right.
Yeah, right. Okay. Okay, right. It was night. No, wait, it was night, but it became, eventually the dawn broke. Okay, the clouds looked, no, that's just stupid. He was flying through the clouds like an aeroplane. It was misty, and he was hungry and thirst. No, wait. He was just hungry, delirious with hunger.
Incoherent with hunger.
Okay. He saw something. Then he saw something in the clouds. Christine's face. She looked like an angel, guiding him. Maybe she was. Yeah. Then he didn't hear any sound, but he could see her mouth moving. He tried to get closer to it, and he came out of the clouds.
Great, that's good.
And then he saw an island. A pass.
At last. Alright. Bob landed on the island near a freshwater stream, and when he'd slaked his thirst, he flew upstream where he found a large deep pool, and there he saw a naked woman. Guess who?
You're telling the story.
Christine, of course. Which was really quite a pity, because he was so very hungry, and seeing her naked flesh just made him feel all the more hungrier. He completely forgot how beautiful she was. His only thought was how good she was going to taste when he'd cooked her.
Food. Such was Bob's delirium that, before he could think another thought, he felt everything go black. Next thing he knew, his beloved Christine was tending him by the side of the pool. "Are you all right?" she said. "You fell in the water. You must have fallen out of a tree."
And hit every branch on the way down, you ugly motherfucker.
Tree. Christine noticed the locket around Bob's neck. "Oh," she said. "Thanks for returning it." She removed it. As soon as she did, Bob felt different. He no longer felt this overpowering love for her. The locket, you see, was magical. If it was lost or stolen, The person who found it would fall desperately in love with the portrait inside and would cross oceans to be with the one they desired. So...
I think that counts as a spell.
Damn! Almost had it there.
Should have been quicker.
Now that Bob had returned the locket to Christine, he had nothing to his name but his ring of flying. So he just followed Christine back to her village. The villagers were welcoming. They found it was handy to have someone around the place who could fly. So eventually Bob had his own cottage and some savings besides.
Yeah, his own cottage, so he didn't even have to share.
And he found himself spending more time with Christine. For although the enchantment had been broken, she was still by far the friendliest and brightest of all the villagers. They became friends, and...
Hi, how's it going?
Hi, Carol.
Fine, thanks. And yourself?
Where are the... Oh, here they are. So, am I in it?
Just a walk-on part.
Why couldn't you guys just flip a coin or something?
It's more fun this way. The smoothest talker gets out of doing the chores.
Well don't forget the toilets. They are filthy.
Yeah, when he gets to choose who doesn't.
We're playing for blood, are we?
When they weren't doing anything else, Bob and Christine liked to sit and talk. They'd talk about life, their dreams, the faraway places that Bob had been to.
All right, get on with it.
And eventually they fell in love.
Wasn't Bob the cabin boy?
Well, yes, he was still quite young, so they decided to wait a while before getting married. And as the years passed, they grew to know and love each other even more.
Thanks. Time passed. Whilst Bob and Christine were consumed with pastoral bliss, Davriel had been tearing up the ocean in the mighty bellows. He too had found a flying ring, obtained from the same Cinque bend where Bob had found the first. The ship weighs anchor in the sheltered cove of a small island. He and his pirates follow a little path and come across a quaint little village. And what do you do when you get a present like that, eh? Silly. You murder, rape, pillage and burn the remains, don't you? That's just what the pirates did.
Fire.
Look, you don't have to make the cards fit the action. The cards will fit. Just tell the story.
I love that shit. Don't you love that shit? Tell the fucking story!
Well, okay,
Come on. Come on.
he... Pass.
No, just try and see it from Bob's point of view.
Too late now. Too late. My turn again. The pirates are stood around the ruins of the village toasting marshmallows. Davriel, being the kind of king who likes to lead from the front, says, "Lads, I'm going to fly around the island, see if I can find anyone we might have missed." He says his yuck, takes off, flies around the small island until he finds a large pool. And who should he see there bathing naked? Anyone? Anyone? He sees Bob. Now, as you know, Davriel's a mite bit ticked off at Bob, having been outsmarted and all. So he decides, time for some revenge, and he sneaks up. But, amazingly, Bob notices, shouts his yuck and flies away, bollock naked. But, unfortunately for Bob, Davriel's ring is a lot faster, and the subsequent chase is not very long. And for Bob, everything goes black.
That was a fucking right story.
I'm not done yet! The game isn't over until the ending card's played. Right? Bob wakes up. He feels like shit. He doesn't know where he is. All he can feel is this weight on his chest, and he can sort of raise his head up and he can see something roughly spherical on his chest, but it's covered by a blanket. He's laid there, he's thinking, oh, what the fuck's going on? But then he sees Davril stood over him, and that doesn't make him feel a whole lot better. I've got something of yours, says Davril. 2 things, in fact. This, and he holds up Bob's flying ring. And this. And he gestures to the lump on Bob's chest. Actually, we figured this was yours because she cried out your name. And he pulls back the blanket to reveal the bloody head of Christine. Now, you don't get to be king without a sense of justice, and Davril is fair. Harsh, but fair. So Davril says to Bob, look, if I'm going to take these 2 things of yours, I should really be giving you something in return. And he drops his pants, and he takes hold of his dick, and it is disgusting. The stink coming from it is a mixture of rotten fish and shit and...
Speaking of shit,
It's just a story.
such a great fucking story it is too.
No, wait, just take it easy, okay? I mean, it won't help to walk out. I mean, I know it's a pretty awful thing for him to be doing, but a safe story can never be a right
Oh,
story.
God, here we
No,
go.
wait, listen! I mean, if you just walk out on it now, you're not letting the story be anything. I mean, a story could be a triumph or a tragedy, but it won't be anything at all unless you let it finish.
So you're saying I should just sit back and let him...
No. I mean, I see your point. I mean, it's an awful thing to do to a character, but you don't fix that by walking out. You fix it by taking the story back.
But I don't have the bloody cards. I need the cards to take the story back.
If it's a right story, the cards will fall correctly. If it's not a right story, then who gives a shit?
Will you 2 please sit down?
Why, thank you.
It's okay.
Yeah, just a story.
As I was saying...
Wait up.
what?
I don't think it's your turn.
Of course it fucking is! You've got to be kidding!
Yes.
No fucking way!
So the smell from Davril's dick, it wasn't very strong.
He's got you there.
Alright. Go ahead.
Well, Christine was lying in Bob's lap.
Just her head. Don't you remember?
No, wait, I don't think you mentioned that bit.
I said he saw her bloodied head in his lap.
Yeah, but he was tied down. How does he know that the rest of her isn't attached?
It should be obvious. Anyway, the pirates killed everyone in the village.
Yeah, but they miss Bob. Maybe they miss Christine too.
Christine wasn't in the village. She got up early. Davril caught her. She went down to the river for a bathe in the river, and Davril caught her. He hit her on the head.
Oh right, like he just hit her on the head.
Well, yeah. I mean, it was like you said. She called out Bob's name, so he thought, oh, and he knocked her unconscious and took her back and put her on Bob's lap. But she wasn't dead.
You already said that.
But she wasn't. I mean, you said before that she was.
Just making it clear.
Right, get on with it. But remember, Bob's trussed up like a turkey, and if you're going to tell me Christine wasn't tied up too...
No, that's right. Christine was tied up as well.
You don't have to do what he says.
No, that's fine. Bob looked at Christine, and she opened her eyes. She was beautiful. So beautiful that he ached with it.
Where in particular?
But Daryl was bending over, rubbing himself. The smell was just terrible, and Bob was straining against his bonds, trying to get free. He just couldn't. He looked over at Christine, who was lying in his lap, and she looked up at him, and she winked. Then she turned and looked up at Davril, and she poked her tongue out. And Davril just stopped in his tracks. Then she She crossed her eyes. Davriel just got this funny expression on his face. And then she wiggled her ears.
She's a fucking contortionist.
And Davriel reached down to grab himself. And his dick fell off. And then his hand fell off. And then his head fell off.
Oh, fuck.
Said the head of Davriel, king of the pirates. How did you do that? Said Bob. Well, said Christine, I didn't want to tell you until after the wedding. But you see, I'm a witch.
All right.
Yeah, well done.
And so, she revealed her true identity, and they were married. The end.
Now that's a right ending.
No. A right ending is where the other pirates find Bob and Christine still tied up and chop them into small pieces.
A right ending is when Christine uses her magic on the other pirates. And then she and Bob leave the island on their own ship.
Or maybe a right ending would be where Christine uses her magic to bring the other villagers back to life, and then they sort of...
The right ending's the one where I wake up in the morning and your house is clean. Night. Hey, Carol.
Well, that's great. You didn't say you had to do what?
Lucky for you.
Another game?
Once upon a time, the sun came out to shine. Once upon a time, stars were all aligned. And I know that this moment stretches out inside my mind. But I find it's only once upon a time, maybe for a week. Smile stretch my cheeks, oh, maybe for a week. I couldn't get to sleep, and I know these are memories which always will be mine. But that day, it was once upon a time. So get up, give it life. Get up, don't change your mind. Fiction is becoming fact right before my eyes. So get up, give it life. Get up, don't change your mind. Fiction is becoming fact right before my eyes. Once upon a time, the sun came out to shine. Once upon a time, the stars were all aligned. And I know that this moment stretches out inside my mind. But I find it's only once upon a time.
Fuck